Hi, welcome back to yet another late night episode of my Saab 900 Turbo 16S 1986 Aero SPG. Hard to find parts for that type of thing. Apologies, it's another late night one because I've been tied in the garage grinding and welding. So, a couple of comments said, what microphone do I use? Because you sound pissed, and that's probably because you need to be pissed to restore one of these cars. It's so rusty. So, something I got off eBay, eight quid, double mic with the little wind muffs, connects to my iPhone. That's all I use at the moment. I haven't got the money for things like DJIs and all that nonsense. So going back to where we were, I was struggling to remove the retaining bolts for the brake caliper, which rounded off, I think, the 19mm, and I bought that kit there off Amazon, which is the bolt remover set. Didn't help. Absolutely didn't help. I got the long bar on it. I got heat on it. I spent a good over afternoon and I got well disheartened with the whole lot because it just wouldn't come out. So what I ended up doing was eventually drilling the bolts out, and to actually get to them, oh, what a task! What an absolute task! This is basically you've got from your caliper. This is the bracket that holds your handbrake cable, because mine obviously is an 86, so the handbrake works on the front wheel. It's a Girling Lucas system. Obviously later after 87, the handbrake worked on the rear wheels. So actually getting to the bolts to drill them and grind them was an absolute nightmare. So I did. I've just had this in the evaporust, and I cut a couple of nicks in it, which I'll re-weld uh, tomorrow. Went a bit thin here, but I mean, my welders. I'm not a workshop. I just have that shitty garage outside. So I've gone a bit thin here, where I've had to cut into the bolt, and a little form of copper. Obviously, as you know, copper's inert to like MIG welders, so I'll be able to build all these areas back up. There's a couple of spot welds. What I did, what is rotten, is the little retaining bracket, which sits in there, and when you, so I mean, some people use thread lock. I mean, I don't think thread lock was around in '86, was it? I don't know, but that's a retaining bracket. It's only 0.8mm steel, and it's gone. It's toast, like most of this bloody car. But a little bit of CAD, cardboard edit design, and I'll replicate that, and this time I'll thread lock it, and where it's missing here, basically you just bend the flange over, and that holds the bolts. So the bolts are they're an M14. I think they were a coated bolt, half thread. I haven't worked out the size because I need to take the near side bolts out the caliper to get the correct size. I think the 40 to 45mm, and these basically is how I've had to grind through the bolts just to remove them. One of the bolts was the thread was immaculate. The second one, it was rusty as buggery, and there was no way I was going to get them out without drilling it. So N14, 1.5 pitch. I think what they call them is fine thread. Gonna have to trace them either from a local engineering company, or I've got another source at the moment. So where I left off is I forgot to, in my last video, I forgot to, my alchemy bit. So what I've been using is to do all the small parts. I mean, this was, again, it's the handbrake retaining bracket. It was rusty as buggery. At the moment, it's been in ex primer, and I'll weld that in the morning and weld that back up in the morning. But it was rusty, and you get this. I mean, I'm not promoted. This is just what I use. I've used the Ibafa Rust. It's 49 quid for 5 litres. That's ridiculous because it's already mixed. I use the flow liner. That is 20 to 1, so I'll make up to 20 litres for half the price. It's about 25, 29 pound. They use it for. I used it originally on me Austin Mini for the tank, and I just mix it with citric acids and a surfactant, which anything. That's the Morrison's. It's just an oxy type effervescent mix, or the other surfactant you can use is a dish soap, or as they say in the States, we call it fairy liquid or washing up liquid. Bit of that, and keep it up to 50, 60 degrees, and 3 or 4 goes in a wire brush, and it's gone. It's completely gone. I haven't got a little blaster. I'd love a little blaster, shot blaster cabinet, but I haven't got one, so that's what I have to do. So we're going back. The main thing is the Crossmember. Obviously, I can't get the Crossmember. I've tried on social media. I mean, there's a lot of people that have been really helpful, and I've had loads of pictures, and I've been searching the internet. So basically, I've had to go it alone. What I've done. Yes, it's a patchwork quilt. It's undressed. It's got holes in it. It will, when I've finished all this fabrication, it will go for dipping. So I know that all the rust is gone. I've got to keep little bits like this. Yes, it's perforated, but I've got to keep all these little bits. I wrote on here. You can sort of see it's fluted up. It's not straight, and as I said in my other video, this is UK model 86 16S turbo. So obviously I've got the oil cooler. This section, because I've cut the sections here equal from the car, and if you look at my last video and the video before and the video before that, this was totally and utterly gone. So I'm using some galvanized steel that I've got. It's 2.2 mil, so it's a lot, probably slightly thicker. I think they use probably 1.8 or 2 mil steel. But you've obviously got this flute from the horizontal that goes up. They're only roughly drawn. They're a 25 mil diameter hole, which mine were non-existent. I've only gone off what I've got from a datum on the underside, which again is perforated, but hopefully in the next couple of days I'll get all this together. You've got the flute, so those are the oil cooler pipes coming in, and the oil cooler surround sits below that. I've wrote the part numbers down because obviously 86 to 87 there was it all goes off chassis changes, and these part numbers are relative because this absolutely obsolete. So 6925523, which I think is mine, and 6945174 was probably the 86 to 87 front end flat nose to the new slanted nose change of the Crossmember. Now, what isn't in here is the radiator surround or slam panel surround. The top bolt is it's about here. So it's about here. That's where that mark is. Once I marry them up, I'll know exactly where they are. But you've also got this triangular flute, which is missing from here. But I have got just there a dating point, and I've done a little bit of CAD again. There's the rad bolt. That will eventually come in. I've oversized the steel, so obviously this looks a bit shit at the moment, but this is all to be cut off. I've used a centralized bolt, which is here on the skid pan or underpan, and what I'm actually trying to do is I'm cutting bits off section by section. This is where I cut the slam panel off, obviously gone, but I've got to keep this shape. I've got to keep this flute. So this is, at the moment, this is loose. I haven't got the machinery. I haven't got the workshop. I'm in a garage in the freezing cold. So what I'm trying to do is replicate that section there, which actually marries up to hard to film that section there. So it isn't the same as this. It just slightly flutes up. And using a central point, which I've got here, this is all going to need straightening. I've CAD'd that section there because looking at the original part number 8724383, now that's possibly a later part number for this section. Obviously mine's an 86 because I think we changed the design and there was 3 holes here, and it was more like a gearbox sump protection bracket. I'm not quite sure about that, but if this might not come out because it's on my iPad, but there's the original part. If we can slowly go on this, honestly, if apologies if this doesn't come out, but that's the original section, and that centre hole, you can see that's 3 studded. Mine is only 2 studded, but you've got all the bead rolls in, and I've sort of got everything. Once I cut this out of steel tomorrow and get that section in, that will marry up there. This is where the battery box has gone. This whole section is where the battery box has gone. I can't put that really show you because I've oversized the steel, but roughly that shape there will marry into that shape there. That's horizontal across the beads, and again that shape there should marry up to that shape there. It's only tacked on. It's only you've got the under gearbox aluminium supports that run down here, but I don't think it's really structural as far as super strength. And what I am going to do, talking about strength, once I've got this, I am going to put some inner steel in before this goes to be acid dipped. I'm going to put some extra steel on the inside and probably spot or tack weld it on the inside, just to give it some extra strength in that way. This here is, if you, it's hard to, obviously because I don't edit, this was the most, yes it was, I mean all these bloody welds, they're so strong. They turn this over. Whoever did this before I got it in '95, look at these welds. I mean, yeah, probably gas or arc welding. I really don't know, but it's really deformed everything. These bits, I'll get back. Where I've done this here, I just use a bit of aluminium tape. Aluminium sealing tape. It's normally used for insulation to get all these. There's parts that are getting thin, but it's these bloody wells, and there was one here, a massive one. If you look back on the old weld I've wrote on there, that married up to here. I mean, and it completely distorted everything. I mean, honestly, I paid quite handsome for this car in '95. Obviously, it was a top spec car, an ex-pilot's car, and you wouldn't expect I wouldn't look for any of this. I mean, all I was bothered about is putting my foot down on the pedal, because that's what you do with these cars. So, going back to just shortly back to this, that's the part number that's now obsolete. I've got this. It's thin. It's popping through here, there, and everywhere. I can cornflake this and weld it in. Again, I'll have it acid dipped. Shot blasting will probably blow quite a bit off. All this is going to be cut out because that is basically symmetrical to that side. As a panel, which I've shown you, and hopefully it comes out on my iPad, that's symmetrical and it's triple skinned. You've got the top section, that's the first skin. Then you've got a turn, which actually is that turn there. Once this is under there, and then you've got a lower section, which is it's quite intact on my near side of my car. I mean, I'm not going out there; it's freezing. But that section there, I'm only missing a few inches. Probably a bit of bead rolling. I'll get that back, and then there's a little bit on the inner wing on the near side of my car. It's the driver's side or the off side that is causing the problem. Now, again, that hopefully I've got enough dating points for this. These are the three mounting brackets for the upper battery box, which sits here, and luckily this bit here, as bizarrely and corroded as it is, that is a little bit of bead rolling that Saab did, which basically comes about here. Now that is for, I think, I don't know at the moment because there's a bracket that's obviously totally corroded away. That's for the rod that for your battery clamp on the front section. These are there's a bridge riser on the underside of the battery box. And if you go back many videos, you'll see that. But that's all I've got left. And then from here, roughly about here, will be the drive shaft tunnel repair panel, which I've got. So it's basically, I've got to replicate this to probably about 2 or 3 inches. I haven't been able to get any sort of decent priced repairs. Like I said, I've just tacked it in. It's not dressed. I dressed it a little bit here, but it's all going to be shot blasted. But it's getting its shape. It is getting its shape. And yes, it looks scruffy, but I have to keep all these points in. This is the upper slam panel radiator surround mounting point. There's a lower one here which replicates that one. Excuse the camera work there, and that diamond shape will eventually come sort of here. And again, I'll oversize it and I'll cut it. That's quite rotten. That's your earthing point. That's if a lot of people have a lot of problems with the early 900s, that is a major problem. It's a big grouped earth. There's about 8 cables come to this bolt here in the engine compartment. So if you have any sort of starting problems or weird problems, check that out first. That is a big earthing thing. So basically, that's sort of where I am at the moment. What I did do, I mean, I want to show you this because this is a fantastic little tool. It's like a Chinese copy of the Bosch 3-inch mini grinder. It's a brushless motor, 2000 RPM, 2 batteries, charger, off eBay. I think it was 16 quid. It's absolutely brilliant for just either grinding back or just nipping tiny little bits. I can't even sort of hold it, but it's really, really good. 16 quid delivered. I think the Bosch one's about £200, $250, not quite sure. So I wanted to show you this because obviously I'm cracking on, driving myself insane, trying to reform all these obsolete bits that I haven't got. Hopefully I've covered everything, and I might get back to a couple more beers actually, because this really is doing my head in. It'd do anybody's head in, all this. It's crazy. But I think I'm slowly getting there. Driving myself insane, cutting my hands, blood blisters, metal spikes, sitting in bed and spikes sticking in you, thinking, where the shitting hell has that come from? And off wire brushes, and you've probably all been there. But yeah, this is terrible. This is a really bad area. But like I say, that there is equal distance to there, so it's going to be equal distance. So it's about here. This is all other people's overwelding before I bought the car. That there is a good dating point. That bit around there, so that's where the battery retaining long U-clamp, it's got a little bit of a hook clamp there, but that basically sits round about there, I think. Sorry, about there. It sits right in the corner where this hits the inner wing. So there you go. A bit of a late nighter. Too cold outside. It's been absolutely freezing last couple of nights here in the UK. Hence the fire, which is a godsend. So I'll update you hopefully when I get a bit more work done. It's just it's been down hard, but getting there slowly. So look after yourself. Hope all these sort of part numbers, which are totally irrelevant because they're obviously sort of help you in any sort of way. And yes, it's toast, but is it toast? Can I turn it back to bread? Hopefully, I'm turning it back to bread. Take care. See you soon.